Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, where the truth always matters. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative, and co-host Brendan, from the Brendan Statler Show. We are your source for conservative news. Now on with the show.
Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative.
And I'm Brendan Statler from the Brendan Statler Show.
Today we are diving headfirst into the heart of American political landscape. So buckle up, because we're about to dissect the headlines, challenge narratives, and unapologetically champion conservative values. In a world where liberty hangs in the balance, we find ourselves at a tipping point. Our forefathers entrusted us with a sacred duty to safeguard freedom. So let's ask ourselves, what legacy will we leave? Will we turn America toward liberty or risk losing it forever? I'm Charlie, and this is the Conservative Viewpoint. And here at the Conservative Viewpoint, we cut through the noise. Armed with insight and humor, we tackle the top issues of the day. No spin, no fluff, just straight talk. Because in this political circus, someone's got to call it like it is. We're not afraid to ask the tough questions, from politicians to pundits. We've got them all under the spotlight. So grab your coffee, folks, because we're about to dive deep into the heart of the matter. And speaking of cutting through the rhetoric, let's slice through the half-truths and grandstanding. It's time to think about the issues the politically right way. So remember, my fellow conservatives, truth doesn't bend to popular opinion. So let's roll up our sleeves, dig into the facts, and reclaim the narrative. This is the Conservative Viewpoint, where liberty reigns supreme. Stay tuned, and let's get this show started. I hope you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend. Hope it wasn't too rough getting back to work today after a long weekend. Can't say that I'm going to take it easy on you guys today, though. Like always, I'm going to ask you guys to check out our Rumble pages again. Mine is the Country Conservative. Brendan's is the Brendan Statler Show. Don't forget to follow us. Give them that thumbs up. If you're tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from, subscribe, like, share, whatever it is. Everything you do with the comments, the likes, shares, everything that you can do helps our channels grow, gets our reach out to more people. So help us improve our show for you guys. Do all that stuff for us, would you? Don't forget to check out our videos, even the live ones. Share them with your friends and your family, all those liberal people, if you even talk to them anymore. Let's wake them up before November 5th so we can regain control of our country. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. How's it going today, Brendan?
It's going quite well, I guess.
What you got for us?
So the big news of the last couple days, the Libertarian Party has selected their presidential nominee. His name is Chase Oliver. Chase Oliver appears to be nothing more than somebody you would see in the Democrat Party. He seems to be a Marxist radical Democrat disguised as a libertarian. I have a number of examples here for you guys. Here is Chase Oliver at the border. Let's play that.
Hey folks, Chase Oliver here, candidate for president with the Libertarian Party, and I am in Nogales, Arizona, and behind this fence and razor wire is Nogales, Mexico. Actually has the exact same name. This is the same city, just two different countries. You know, Nogales, Arizona, Nogales, Mexico. And I'm here because I want to break some myths about immigration in this country. There's a lot of things that statists try to sell you as ideas that are actually nothing more than scare tactics or false statistics and things that aren't true. And so let's talk about this. First, if you ask people who live here or know the community here, people who are coming to this country just want to work for the most part. They are not seeking to take our welfare. And in fact, you're 3 times more likely to go into a welfare program as a native-born citizen than as a migrant. And so the truth is a lot of these folks are actually working. They use a fake social security number because they don't have documentation, so they pay into the system, and they never get those benefits back. And so when we're talking about immigration here, we need to understand this, that these people are just trying to seek a better life. And when you see fences like this, these kinds of things belong more in dystopian totalitarian states like East Germany that would separate East and West Berlin. These walls prevent commerce. These walls prevent peaceful people from being able to move freely about and spend their money or their labor or their time either in Mexico or here in the United States. And I think it's wrong to be denying anybody the ability to move freely unencumbered without much difficulty. This is why we need Ellis Island style of immigration. You should be able to come through a port of entry. One of these, there's a port of entry right here behind me. You should be able to come right through there and give your name, basically do a basic criminal background check, and get in here to be able to come here to work or visit or do whatever you want to do. And so I'm going to keep fighting for more peaceful immigration and to tear down walls just like this one behind me. First off, if you travel just a few miles out of town, there is no wall, there's no fence. So what good does it do to develop this scary razor wire covered structure other than to try to put fear and intimidation into voters, into the people, and let the government have more and more control over our lives and the lives of free people who just want to come here and put down their roots and start their American dream. And so I'm going to fight for freer and more open immigration so that Nogales, Arizona and Nogales, Mexico can be the sister cities they should be without having all this razor wire and fencing put up. And if you want to join a movement that treats immigrants with respect and decency and doesn't try to demonize them and use scare tactics to scare Americans.
So you heard it right from his mouth. He is perfectly fine with the invasion that has been taking place at our southern border. Even worse, it appears that he is perfectly fine with drag queen story hour for children. Here it is. Let's play it.
Why do you think that the drag queens? Why do you think that the drag queens want to read to children?
Because I think that they are performance artists and they want to be able to have different levels of performance art. It's the same reason as why do the Wiggles sing to children? Because they want to have a marketplace to kids.
Chase,
they want to be able to. They want to be
the
able
Wiggles,
to.
The Wiggles is made for children. It's obviously family friendly material. Drag queens are not what you call family friendly kind of entertainment.
Okay, no. But a man in a dress is what drag is, right? Let's just be real. A man in a dress or a woman in a suit is what drag is. Mm-hmm. That is not inherently sexual. There is inherently sexual drag. And you're not going to convince me. I mean, I'm not going to defend otherwise. There absolutely is. But there's also the ability to perform as a man in a wig without being sexual. And that is what this is. And I guarantee you, if you act like I said, I went for myself because I was like, why are there people protesting this thing? I want to see what this drag queen story time is myself, and I want to see what it is. And nothing sexual was going on. And I think that is the truth for 99% of this. And I think
would you take your kids to a drag queen story hour? Or would you drop them off at a drag queen story hour and
I don't think that's what happens. Most of the time, the parents are right there with the kids. But
I'm asking you, would you drop your kids off at a drag queen story hour and come back an hour later?
Well, I guess there was no answer to that one.
There was. He actually answered yes. The video didn't play all the way for whatever reason. It's okay. I shared all these, so anybody who wants to see the full thing could see them on my Twitter account.
He's a disgusting pig.
Yeah, now finally, if all that isn't bad enough for you guys, this guy was an open Black Lives Matter terrorist activist. Here he is speaking in favor of the Black Lives Matter movement. Let's play that.
So I'm here to talk about not just the injustice that Cop City brings, but what militarization of police brings to us. I was in the streets in summer of 2020 when we were peacefully protesting the murder of George Floyd, the murder of Breonna Taylor and others. And it was the Atlanta police who decided to bring the tanks rolling down the street and who decided to call in the National Guard. It was y'all who corralled us. It was y'all who were pepper spraying and tear gassing us. It was the police who were pulling people out of their cars and arresting them for no reason other than the fact they were lost on the night of the protest. And so what does the police get in reward for that? $67 million of taxpayer money to fund your facility? That's ridiculous. I don't think it's right to be giving you $1 until you restore trust with the people. And the way you do that is pretty simple. You do that by by ending qualified immunity for the Atlanta City Police. so that we can get our day in court when we're done wrong. You do that by requiring your officers to hold liability insurance. So when they do wrong, it doesn't come out of the taxpayer's pocket from other services. It comes out of the pockets of the police officers who have to pay for those insurance policies. If you want to hold police accountable, there's a lot of ways to do it. But clear-cutting forests so that you can build this facility is a spit in the face of the people who have been out here speaking against it for months and months on end.
Guy's a freak.
Yeah. So here's a couple pictures I wanted to show you guys as well of this fruitcake that the Libertarian Party nominated. I gotta share my screen here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Are you able to see us, Charlie?
Got it now. It's up.
Yep. Okay, so this is Chase Oliver, of course, at a pride march or a pride event of some kind with a pride flag. And here's this fruitcake in a pride shirt wearing a mask. So, you know, that this is obviously very bad. Libertarian Party, what the hell are you people thinking?
No kidding. That is disgusting.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Just
well,
makes,
we're talking,
makes Trump look even better, right? I mean,
oh my God, yeah, hell yeah.
Trump is the only option if you want to save this country, man. I mean, there is no other option. You can't trust someone like Kennedy. Can't trust someone like Biden, and you're going to vote. Would you really consider voting for this freak?
Oh my God.
I mean, come on.
This some bitch needs to be buried under a prison. But now we're talking about freaks. Let's get into Robert De Niro and that piece of shit today. They had to, Joe Biden and their campaign had to hold a rally outside of Trump's courthouse today while they were giving their closing arguments. And we're going to go into more of that tomorrow because they just closed up their closing arguments here not long ago. And but they held a rally out there. They bring out this piece of shit, old, washed up piece of shit. You want to call him a movie star because I guess he is. And I did like his shows. But when he runs his freaking mouth like he did today, because he's a pansy and trying to say that Democrats are trying to be, well, how do you say that? Mature or something like that. But I'm going to let you watch this short video. It's only about 54 seconds long as this piece of shit outside and Trump supporters are going at him. So take a listen to this.
Campaign, and it was held by actor and New Yorker Robert De Niro, as well as two former law enforcement officers who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. De Niro simply says that Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and that he will not leave that, and that Americans can take the freedoms that we take for granted and that we can kiss them goodbye if he is reelected. Now, Trump protesters screamed profanities at De Niro, and as the actor tried to leave, they blocked his car. De Niro first tried to be civil, but then responded in kind.
We're trying to be gentlemen in this world. The Democrats, you are gangsters. You are gangsters.
You're a little punk. You're a softy. You're a nobody. Watch your back. You're trash. You're trash.
Now you hear that piece of shit. He was sitting there saying that they're trying to be gentlemen. The Democrats are trying to be gentlemen. Is he seeing the BLM, Antifa, all of them out there saying, we're going to defy the Supreme Court. To hell with the Supreme Court. Where's the gentleman? The Democrat Party is the party of lawlessness, violence, and threats. That's all they are. And they try to bring that piece of shit out to justify it out in front of Trump's trial. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think it's funny that the media is saying that he tried to be civil. He's the one that instigated this whole whatever you want to call it. He instigated every bit of this by insulting the Trump supporters that were there protesting on behalf of Trump, calling them crazy and all kind of other names. So of course people were, throwing it back at him. I mean, what else are you going to do? And, so De Niro, little Bobby De Niro, started all this shit that we saw today. And I love how he acts like such a tough guy while he's surrounded by all of his security. But Bobby De Niro may play a badass tough guy in every one of his movies, but he's a little whiny, weak bitch in real life. He is nothing more than a little pussy that can't go anywhere without his security. And to top it all off, he has cops from the January 6th hearing that were supposedly dealing with the insurrection that we all saw, the quote unquote insurrection. Are you freaking kidding me? But the Biden team had nothing to do with this. Why are they traveling with the Biden team? That just shows even more that this was orchestrated by the deep state. And Biden and his team had nothing to do with prosecuting Trump, right?
Right.
Why are they holding a press conference outside of the courthouse if they had nothing to do with it? Why is that? Guilty people always return to the scene of the crime. That is exactly what Biden's team did today. Their fingerprints are all over this. This was all instigated by the illegitimate Biden regime to prosecute Trump. This is what you see in third world dictatorships. You have the people in power prosecuting their political opponents and silencing any opposing voice. We are not on the brink of becoming a third world nation. We are there, but we still have time to get it back. And it all starts with re-electing Trump this election. And if it doesn't, we can't get out. We can't get back to the America that we all remember. We are a third world police state nation at the moment. Yeah, piss on De Niro. He's such a little bitch. I would love to run into him and
oh, no kidding.
I'm telling you, man.
But I didn't get his speech that he was saying before all this went down. But he was saying that if Trump gets in there, we're going to lose every freedom we ever had. Trump can't be able to run a country. He's already run the country, you dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah, and you know what's even better than that?
We've gained all our freedoms, not lost any freedoms like we're doing under Joe Biden. You
know what's even better than that, Charlie? What is the whole Democrat narrative if Trump gets reelected? And little Bobby De Niro repeated this same lie today. If Trump gets back in, he'll never leave.
Yes.
Well, if that was his intention, why in the hell did he leave in 2021?
Exactly.
Why did he leave? If that was his intention, why did he even leave? Did these people not realize he was president before and he already left office?
Yeah, I mean, and he's already run this country, and he ran it perfectly. We had the best economy this country's ever seen under Donald Trump. And this son of a bitch is going to sit up there and spin lies of Democrat Party lies. And that's what pissed me off. And God, I wish I would have knew he was going to be there. We could have taken a trip up to New York. Oh my God!
He's probably sweating because he was probably at Epstein's pedo island. You know, I think his name was one of the many on the list. He's sweating. You could see it in his eyes, and you could hear it in his voice. There is fear in his voice, and he should be afraid.
Well, all the Democrats should be, but Trump keeps saying that he doesn't try to jail his opponents, and damn it, he should. But anyways, we're going to get into the best part here. And this is what I was going to start off with. Joe Biden intimidating witnesses. What do you guys think? This comes from Just the News. And I got a lot of Just the News today. They had some good articles over the weekend that I built up while I was on vacation. But Biden visits Hunter Biden's ex-girlfriend, Haley Biden, which was Beau Biden's ex-wife, just ahead of her upcoming testimony at Hunter Biden's gun trial. Now, this so-called President Joe Biden visited the home of his ex-daughter-in-law. They say daughter-in-law, it's ex-daughter-in-law Haley, on Sunday night, just weeks before he's set to testify against first son Hunter Biden in his federal trial on alleged gun crimes. But it sounds fishy to me that Joe Biden is going to visit his ex-daughter-in-law just prior to her giving testimony against him. Now, so before we get so much deeper into this, I'm going to let you watch this video. It's about 55 seconds long on Biden's ex talking about his drug addiction as part of his gun charge. You guys take a look at this.
I'm Amy Delore for Washington Examiner, and we're getting you caught up on today's headlines in a Wex Minute.
Bad news, Biden. A trio of Hunter Biden's exes are going to be called in his felony gun case. David Weiss plans to use them to tell highly personal testimony about Hunter Biden's drug addiction. One of them is Beau Biden's widow, who Hunter also dated. She will describe Hunter's chronic crack cocaine use around the time of the gun possession. President Joe Biden issues a veto threat over a gas furnace bill set for a vote in the Senate. The bill would undo Biden's efficiency rule, effectively banning all non-condensing furnace models, forcing people to convert to electric heat pumps. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan and Representative Elise Stefanik are demanding answers about why a judge's anti-Trump comments haven't been investigated. Stefanik alleged Judge Beryl Howell of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia made a highly inappropriate political speech, pushing partisan statements and commenting on proceedings involving Trump that were pending before the court.
You can get the links to these stories down in the description below and at WashingtonExaminer.com.
Now, don't you find it funny that Joe Biden's going over there just before this happens? So, guys, let me know in chat. What do you guys think? Do you think he's intimidating her or coaching on her on what to say so Hunter Biden gets off on these charges? What do you guys think?
It's absolutely intimidation. I mean, can you believe if Trump sent his team, Trump and his team went to the Hunter Biden trial? They did exactly what Joe Biden's team did today with the Trump trial. I mean, can you imagine if they did that? They would be all over this. But Joe Biden could send his team to the Trump trial, and he could visit his ex-daughter-in-law, who just happens to be testifying against his son here soon in his gun charge trial. I mean, but nothing to see here as far as the media is concerned. I mean, you never see her
ever
at any other event, like at the White House when the rest of the family's there. Why is it that he felt the need to go to her house at night and completely avoid the press? And Karine Jean-Pierre, the worst press secretary in United States history,
oh God,
said that it was to commemorate the anniversary of Beau Biden's death. Well,
he didn't die on Memorial Day.
Yeah, I don't know when he died exactly, but let's just assume for a minute that's true. We all know that's bullshit, but let's just assume that's true for a minute. So, how do you not recognize the optics of what this would look like? Showing up to her house at night, avoiding the press.
Right.
Why wouldn't you just make a phone call? He didn't make a phone call because it had nothing to do with the anniversary of his son's death.
Exactly.
It had to do with intimidating the witness that is going to testify against his son.
That could do 25 years in prison for.
Yeah, which he probably won't, if we're being honest.
No, he probably won't.
And if he does get any jail time, he'll be pardoned immediately, as we know.
Right, exactly. Now, again, this next story comes from Just the News. And Joe Biden is receiving sensitive data and briefings from security advisors in his private fake name emails. Now, under the law, such communications are supposed to occur on a secured government email system. And to date, Biden has not offered any explanation of why his private email account was used. The archives say they have tens of thousands of such emails from 3 Biden personal pseudonym accounts used during his vice presidency. Now, doesn't that sound a little bit familiar? Like, Hillary Clinton and what happened to her? Not a damn thing. And what do you think is going to happen to Joe Biden?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
No, not at all.
So take a look at this video on Biden's fake emails and let me know what you guys think about it after this. Listen to this.
The National Archives Records and Administration, which is allegedly in possession of over 5,000 documents linked to President Joe Biden's alleged pseudonyms. Now, the Southeastern Legal Foundation sued the archives and requested all records pertaining to 3 email accounts containing fake names House Republicans say Joe Biden used to evade accountability for his pay-for-play influence scheme. Now, per the nonprofit, the archives responded to their June 2022 Freedom of Information Act request and confirmed the existence of some 5,000 records, but never released them.
Meanwhile, top members of House Republican leadership say that they've launched an investigation into lead prosecutor David Weiss over his handling of the DOJ's investigation into Hunter Biden. They say Weiss's 11th hour appointment to special counsel undermines the Justice Department's claims that Weiss was always acting independently of the administration.
Get the hell out of here. This administration is nothing but one big check of lies. And Tammy was talking about KJP, and she's a box checking clown. Did you see that?
I did, yeah. That's
Yeah,
fun.
that's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah.
I can't even stand, and I told Tammy this in the chat that I can't even stand listening to her because you know what's coming out of her mouth, lies. But they are the most transparent administration ever in this country. What do you guys think? Are they transparent? Or are they just a bunch of freaking liars? I get a little more nastier, but I don't want to get us kicked off of the other channels. And so we're like streaming to 8 different places. So, yeah, because you never get a straight answer out of them. And when you do question them, like Peter Dosey does, and she wants to run off the stage, she doesn't want to answer him. She always wants to hide from the truth. And she said, I don't know what to tell you, but I already answered that, Peter. Oh, my God. Okay.
I agree 100%.
I can't stand that bitch.
Yeah, it's amazing, like how, even though I'm not a huge fan of hers now, but you look back at when Kayleigh McEnany was press secretary for Trump.
I loved her.
And she's done some stuff since then. I'm not
but
too
she was straight up
with
on that.
She was a good press secretary,
Yep.
I will say. She did a good job. But the ridiculous questions she would get asked. And Karine Jean-Pierre can't even handle a simple question that is slightly tough because the media doesn't really ask tough questions. I mean, as much as I think Peter Doocy does all right, I wish he would push back a little more. I mean, he's one of the very few that asks legitimate questions. I wish he would force the issue a little more as she tries to shut him down. But overall, he does okay. But this is a perfect example of why DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, really stands for didn't earn it. Karine Jean-Pierre was picked because she was Black and because she's a lesbian woman.
Yep.
That is the only reason she got the job.
Well, because she's dumb as hell when she has that file folder with all those tabs on there, and she gets there and has to flip through that shit, and she goes, "Well, we got to we look at this and say, oh, there it is. Okay, we got I'm not answering you." Yeah, it's like at least Peppermint Patty. Yeah. She was a good liar because she didn't need a book. She just straight up lied to your ass right there in front of your face.
Yeah, I was going to ask you who was worse, Jen Psaki or Karine Jean-Pierre. I'm going with Karine Jean-Pierre.
Oh yeah. Jen Psaki, she's a great liar.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that topic later.
Yeah, we circle back to all this stuff. But yeah, Billy Bob Engay. Yep, the media handed approved questions only. Oh yeah. You can't ask anything that's not approved through the White House first.
Well, you saw a great example of that today when they were holding this press conference or whatever outside of the courthouse where the Trump trial was being held. I don't know who this guy is, but he's a spokesperson for the Biden campaign. A Black guy. I've seen him talk on TV before, but I can't remember his name. Did you see him trying to answer questions today? He was being asked pretty tough questions. I don't know by who.
I didn't see that part.
He was being asked pretty legitimate questions like, is this case weaponized by the Biden team and, other stuff like this? And he just kept saying, are there any media questions? Any media questions that, because they don't have the media approved questions there because this was just kind of, thrown together that they went there and then the media happened to show up from what I understand.
No, right.
These people are completely incompetent. I mean, they can't answer a slightly tough question because most of the times they don't get tough questions. They're all softball questions. Like I said, you look back to Trump's press secretaries, all of them. You even go clear back to when Sean Spicer was press secretary, Trump's first press secretary. Then you go to Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Liked her too.
Yeah, she did a great job. And Kayleigh McEnany. Yeah. You go through all of them, man, they were asked some tough questions. And then you got Jen Psaki and Karine Jean-Pierre and other people within the Biden team can't answer simple questions. It's hilarious.
Oh, no doubt there. All right, let's move on to another just a news kind of day here. And what's also coming from them is Biden's going to release some oil from our oil reserves to lower our fuel prices. Of course, he could have done this years ago.
Election year, Charlie.
What's that?
Election year.
Oh, yeah. Election's coming up. You know, gas prices are skyrocketing, and election's really close. So he's going to release 42 million barrels of oil to try to bring our costs down. At the same time, he's not going to be able, or doesn't want to, let's say, to restock our oil reserves. Now, in my opinion, this is what he wants to do because he's pushing this green bullshit, green energy stuff to force people to buy these electric fire starters, you know, those EV cars. And I've got a video here. It's only a minute something. It's a little over a minute something long. About him not going to be able to replenish our reserve stock. And this is kind of worrisome. So take a look at this.
Joining us now with more insight into our current economic state, chief economist, global strategist, and founder of Schiff Gold, Peter Schiff, back on the program. Peter, nice to see you. Let's get right after it. Every time you come on, I'm looking for a silver lining. I'm looking for some good news. And I don't know if I can find it today. You got anything good, or are we just going to go with what the hell's going on in reality?
The news is unfortunately bad. I'm just a messenger.
I know.
So shoot me. But, you talked about oil just before, I came on. And, they can't afford to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve because the price of oil has already gone up 22% this year. It's at $87 a barrel. Last year, oil prices were down 10% for the year, and the CPI was up 4.1. This year, we're only a quarter of the way finished with the year, and we're already up 22%. And you have Powell and everybody else saying that inflation is going to come down this year. How is that possible? With not only oil prices, the CRB is exploding. And in fact, gold prices just took out 2,300, all-time record high. This is all because inflation is coming back big. And that's what's going to make home ownership and just about everything else completely unaffordable because prices are going to go up a lot faster, I think, this year than they did in the last couple of years, and it was bad in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. It's been horrific. And I'm tired of hearing these lying pieces of from the Biden regime and the mainstream media being like a little parrot with the talking points that things aren't that bad. Well, people just aren't maybe seeing or feeling how Bidenomics is helping the economy.
Now, like I've said in almost all my videos, the live streams and everything, that the Democrats and Joe Biden does everything that they do between now and November 5th is absolutely all for votes and nothing else, because he could have done this earlier in his fake presidency and curbed the economy, but he decided not to. They wait until the poll numbers are tanking and we're getting close to election, like Brendan said, time to try to buy votes. So let me know what you guys think in chat. Do you guys think he's trying to buy votes with doing all this? Because he sure to hell doesn't give a shit about our economy.
No, and you could also look at the southern border as an example of this. They completely denied for 3 years that there was any problem at the border. Remember, they said that the border was secure, the border was closed. They even went as far to say is that there was nobody coming across the border, despite the fact that we were seeing it on the news every single day, people coming over in massive numbers. Especially during Biden's, even his first week in office, all the illegal alien thugs coming over wearing Biden t-shirts that said, Biden, let us in. I mean, come on. These people are absolutely ridiculous. Then all of a sudden, the calendar year 2024 hits. It's an election year. Then they start addressing the border and they try blaming it on Republicans. Now he's doing this to try to drive down the price of oil and gas. Anybody that falls for this is a complete idiot. If you fall for this, you are a complete idiot. And that is the nicest way I can put it. There is no way the American people are going to fall for this. They see that he had the power. to fix this all along, but instead he let the American people struggle for 3 years, and it was done intentionally because we, the people, voted for Donald Trump not just once in 2016, but in 2020 as well, because we all know the election was stolen from Trump. Trump was really elected president in 2020. Everything that has been going on since this illegitimate regime took office was to punish the American people for electing Donald Trump twice.
Oh, yeah. Now we got a comment. It's a good comment in there. I'll put it up here and show you. Can you see that, Brendan?
I can see that, yep.
Read that out. I can't see it that good.
It says Biden's team showed up to pressure the court and the jury. They were making it be known that they have the power and that they will come after all of those who go against their will. That is 100% true. Is that,
yep.
Was that Harold? What was
I
that
think
on?
so. I think so, yeah.
Was that on Rumble?
Yeah, I haven't seen him for a while. How you doing? But I mean, there's so much. He's so absolutely right about this that they're trying to. It's almost like an intimidation factor, right there too. And he's absolutely right.
That's 100% what it is. You have the intimidation at the Trump hearing, and you have the intimidation with Biden going to visit
his ex-daughter-in-law.
His ex-daughter-in-law, who just happens. I'm sure it's a coincidence. Just happens to be testifying against his son in this trial with his gun charges. I mean, I'm sure it's pure coincidence, Charlie. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, you know it. Isn't it a coincidence, guys in chat? You know that. It's got to be a coincidence.
We need to take these people all to the train station, Charlie. Show your shirt
off.
Yes.
That's why I showed this in my ad today. We got to get some people taking rides to the train station. What do you guys think in chat? Let us know. You got to think that. Okay, let me get back into this thing. Now, this thing we've seen an awful lot of, the so-called Joe Biden's presidency, is him being weak on our enemies. Perfect example coming up from Newsmax again by the administration is telling our allies to back off Iran on their nuclear weapons. Now, I can't help myself, but I got to show you this video. It's about 1:29 long of John Kennedy, and this is great. Talking about being soft on Iran, but you guys got to take a look at this. This is an awesome video.
Every authority that is necessary to cut off Iran, Hamas, and every other terrorist group is already in the president's hands. The question is never whether the president can, it's whether the president will.
Well, why has the Biden administration been so soft on Iran? If we know Iran is funding Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, their surrogates in Syria, their surrogates in Iraq, why has President Biden's administration been so soft on them? Well, do they just think love is the answer, and that this isn't a bar fight, and that, I mean, it just looks to me like this administration is quoting Socrates in the middle of a prison riot.
That's a very apt picture. I'm not a spokesman for the Biden administration, so I can only give you my estimation. There has always been a problem in our compartmentalization in dealing with Iran. We have prioritized their nuclear program, their nuclear weapons program, understandably, but we have not ignored, but diminished the importance of their support for terrorism, their regional disruptions, and their human rights record. Those things need to change. We need to tighten the screws on Iran in every single aspect.
Peace through weakness never works, does it?
No.
Peace through weakness. And that's what we see with the Joe Biden administration. So Joe Biden gives them millions and billions of dollars to a terrorist workshop country like Iran that helps fund Hamas. You heard it right there, and I love that man because he speaks straight up. You know, they use Hamas, they fund Hamas on the attack on Israel. They let Iran restart the nuclear program and still wants to give them more money, telling other countries to leave Iran alone, let them become a nuclear power, like this pathetic, weak-ass Joe Biden is doing. just like he does with China, with Russia, and all of our enemies, how much more do you idiot liberals need to see that the Democrats and Joe Biden are trying to ruin this country?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen this over and over again, how we continuously fund our enemies. I mean, and we've seen this from many presidents. I mean, Obama did this how many times?
Yeah.
The Bushes, both of them, did it how many times? Of course,
Right.
Clinton. I mean, really, you go down the line. I mean, it's ridiculous that we continue to do this, but particularly with Biden, what really stands out is just how obvious it is that we're funding both ends of almost every single conflict that is going on around the world right now. You know, we're funding Russia and Ukraine. You know, we gave Russia that pipeline. Biden okayed that. Russia's making a lot of money off that pipeline. We're giving endless money to Ukraine, and we're giving money to Israel, which, you know, they are an ally of ours. I wish we would be doing stuff here for our own people first.
Yeah.
But we're giving money to Israel, and we're giving money to Iran, who is funding Hamas, the very same terrorist organization that is attacking Israel. I mean, this is just what globalists do. They want war, because war, unfortunately, I mean, many people don't want to say this, but it is true. War creates money. War is profitable. That is why they create war. And, you know, it's kind of funny how much things have changed, because for a long time, and people could agree or disagree with this, whatever they want to do, but it seemed like for the longest time, it was mainly Republican presidents that were doing this. They were funding both ends of war and looking for any reason to go to war. You know, just look at George W. Bush after 9/11 and how we were lied to about the weapons of mass destruction. Now, George Bush may not have been involved in any of this, because let's be clear, Dick Cheney was really president. George W. Bush was a freaking dope, not quite to the level that Biden is, but still a dope nonetheless.
Yeah.
But you know, this is, and now it's not only the Republicans doing it, it's the entire uniparty, because they want conflict throughout the world, because it generates money. I mean, they make so much money off war. It is sickening. They treat people like pawns in chess every single opportunity they get.
Yeah, the problem is that they're letting all these terrorists and everything come through here. Now, with all the terrorists and the drug cartel criminals, the mental patients that are coming through our southern borders because of Joe Biden and his open border policy, many of the Border Patrol agents are leaving under Biden because it's so bad on morale. This comes to you from Newsmax, too. U.S. Border Patrol agents blame Joe Biden for the agency losing in nearly a quarter of its workforce since 2020 and the presidential election. The Border Patrol, which is comprised of more than 19,000 agents, lost almost 5,000 agents between October of 2020 to April of 2024. Now, you can't blame them for leaving, because Joe Biden will not allow them to enforce the immigration laws that we have in place right now. They want these illegal criminals, the terrorists, the mental patients that are being released from these other countries to come here to get their burden off of them and send them to us. Now, we talked about this almost every time on all of our videos, our live streams. We talk about the border, because that's a huge subject, especially when it comes to the safety and security of the United States. I have this brief video for you guys to watch on the border security and them talking about the dangers of the southern border because of Joe Biden. Take a look at this.
Chuck Schumer is dusting off a collapsed Senate border deal and planning.
Nope, let's do.
President, thank you. Thank you. Sir, I want you to know, your agents, my agents, they're mad as hell. Absolutely mad that President Biden went to Brownsville, Texas, rather than going to Arizona, rather than going to San Diego, California, rather than coming to Eagle Pass, Texas, which has been the epicenter. What President Trump has seen right here is he's seen how his policies have worked, but he's also seen how he can expand upon those policies once he goes back into the White House. He has seen how Governor Abbott has been able to use his policies to secure this specific area, the epicenter of the last 2 years of the illegal border crisis that we have had to endure. And your agents, President, they are pissed. Border Patrol agents are upset that we cannot get the proper policy that is necessary to protect human life, to protect American citizens, to protect the people that are crossing the border illegally. We want to protect them as well. And we can't do that because President Biden's policies continue to invite people to cross here. Thank goodness we have a governor like Governor Abbott. Thank goodness we have somebody that's willing to run for President of the United States, forgo everything else that he's been doing to serve the American people. President, thank you.
Now, meanwhile, we have, in just the news, of course, House Republicans demand information on immigrants who attempted to breach the Marine Corps base. Now, we had 2 Jordanians pretending to be Amazon drivers trying to get onto a military base. Why do you guys think that they would want to be on the military base? What do you think, Brendan?
I can think of quite a few reasons, actually. I mean,
well, what would you be your main one thing they would be wanting to get from there?
They would want to get information, certainly.
And
that would be the biggest thing. I mean, if you know what your enemy is doing, the person you're planning to attack, you would want to know their strategy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That would be my biggest thing. They're going to hijack intel
and weapons.
And, yeah, of course, weapons as well, but intel more importantly. I mean, weapons.
They couldn't get across the border with weapons, so they've got to get them from somewhere. Yeah. And you're right. The intel is a big one that they would want to see the weaknesses of our military.
Absolutely.
So this country, something's going to break off in this country, and we're not even ready for it. We're not prepared, especially under a Joe Biden regime. I believe that is the Democrats' playbook for something to happen so they can take control of all of us. They can control a state of emergency and declare, martial law. And this is what happened. But I want you to watch this breach of the, it gives you what they were trying to do in this breach. Take a look at this real quick.
An attempted security breach at the Marine Corps base in Quantico, Virginia, placing a spotlight on how much the government doesn't know about who is entering the U.S. illegally and what threats they may pose.
The word is out around the world. If you are dangerous, if you're from a dangerous country, come to America. The Biden administration will let you in.
According to base officials, earlier this month, 2 Jordanian nationals drove a box truck up to the Marine Corps base in Quantico, posing as Amazon drivers. They had no credentials, were denied entry, but attempted to push through anyways. The men were quickly stopped, taken into custody, and handed over to ICE, where they await deportation. The Biden administration tight-lipped on details.
Given that it is an active law enforcement matter, so I would have to refer you to ICE. I just can't dive into this because, again, there's a law enforcement, this is a law enforcement matter.
A community paper, the Potomac Local, broke the story. According to their reporting, multiple sources said one of the men recently crossed into the U.S. via the southern border, and one is on the terror watch list. ICE has not yet confirmed if they're here illegally or if they're on the watch list.
Yeah, Tammy just brought up a good point, too. All these military age illegals are here to fight the American people, and that's exactly what they're doing. Yep. And so knowing we have all these people trying to break into our military bases, illegal criminals, the Democrats in the Senate voted against a border security provision abandoned that they abandoned during the Ukraine fight, trying to get funding for them. The Democrats will do anything and everything in their power not to secure the border, and there's a reason behind it. And we know what it is because any of these liberals think if this is out of the goodness of their hearts that they're letting these illegal criminals come into this country. You're dumbasses. It's all for votes. It's to control the elections from now until the end of days. So wake up, you idiot liberals, and see the truth, because this is the truth. And I don't know how anybody's that damn dumb that can't see it.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. They want to not only create a whole new voting base, that's the obvious answer. And we've talked about, they want more delegates because it goes off the census. It doesn't go off legal citizens. It just goes on people residing in an area. But I think the main thing is they know that many of these people are terrorists. They're people that want to harm every single American, kill every single one of us.
Mm-hmm.
They want people set up and just waiting for orders to attack. I mean, this is destroying the nation from within. This is in Sun Tzu's Art of War. It is destroying the nation from within. I mean, this is how these other nations are trying to take us out. Everybody in Washington, D.C., everybody in the deep state wants America to fall. You do not institute policies like this and basically just evaporate your whole southern border and let everyone come in if you truly care about that nation. A country without borders is not a country. If you don't have borders, you do not have a nation. That's kind of the whole thing that makes a nation, is the borders. So we're allowing everybody in, and many of these people, like Tammy pointed out, are military-age fighting men. We've seen many examples of this, and we brought this up before. These people are getting ready to attack. We are in a very vulnerable state. It is very likely we could see a 9/11 type attack right here on U.S. soil. I hope it doesn't happen, but man, it is a very real possibility right now. It's a very real possibility.
Oh, most definitely. And now for all you liberals out there that say that illegal criminals that are crossing our border are not allowed to vote in our elections. Well, another one that comes from Just the News. The House passes a bill repealing D.C.'s non-citizen voting law in a bipartisan vote. Now, I know you liberals aren't very smart, but when you repeal something, that means it has to be in effect to be able to take it away. And that's what repeal means. If you guys don't understand this,
they're looking it up. They're looking it up in the dictionary right now, Charlie.
Oh, yeah, they're tweeting. What are you talking about, man? Get your crayons out and write down the definition.
They're trying to sound it out and everything.
Right.
They think it's two E's. It's PEEL, not PEAL.
Right. We got to spell it for RE. You got that? PE. Okay, we're gonna get that for them.
They got the R down. That's about it.
Oh, okay, you're good then. So that means that DC and other Democrat-run states, which I know DC is not a state, but they have a law in place that allowing illegals to vote in their elections. Now, it's a total betrayal of the United States Constitution. And here's a video to prove to you guys about the House repealing the DC law. Take a look at this.
Now for a story you'll only see right here. The House voted down a D.C. law that would have allowed non-citizens to vote in local elections. Surprisingly, 52 Democrats voted with Republicans to block the law. National correspondent Janae Bowens has a look at the controversy.
Non-citizens voting in some local elections is further igniting the tensions over the crisis at the southern border.
Why is it in our country the only one dumb enough to offer incentives after incentive after incentive to the millions of illegal immigrants pouring over our border every single year?
In the House, the concerns are bipartisan, as 52 Democrats joined all Republicans in voting to repeal Washington, D.C.'s law allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections. That's 10 more Democrat votes compared to a similar measure last year, but many Democrats say the effort is to
meddle in local D.C. elections.
Now, that was a Democrat that didn't agree with this either. And some of the Democrats did side with Republicans on this. to repeal this thing. Illegals under our Constitution are not allowed to vote in the United States. And this is what Brendan said is just for votes. This is exactly what it is. It's for them to get their delegates and all that stuff. And I don't care who you are, you should have to have an ID to vote. No matter what the Democrats say that blacks can't get an ID.
You absolutely should have to get a photo ID. I actually argued with someone on Facebook with this a few days ago. Let's just say that his name is John. Let's just say his name's John. He was saying how it disenfranchises people that are living in poverty, or however the hell he tried to dress it up. I said, you mean to tell me that there are people out there that are incapable of getting an ID? Now, we all know what he was trying to say, because, of course, our friend John is a true racist xenophobe, like most Democrats are. He really wanted to say black people weren't smart enough to get an ID. That's what he was signaling. But it's an absolute ridiculous argument that people, I don't care what your skin color is, or, if you're poor, rich, whatever. I don't know anybody that does not at least have a photo ID. It just makes sense. I mean, and I want to go back to this real quick. This just popped in my mind. Because the argument I made to our friend, let's call him John, like I said,
okay,
was because he said it's a constitutional right. I said, so why is it that we have to use photo ID to purchase firearms? That is also a constitutional right. And he's, and his little peanut liberal brain probably exploded trying to think that one over. But it's absolutely ridiculous to make an argument for not having photo ID. You have to have photo ID to go buy a case of beer, to buy a pack of cigarettes, to do really anything. You had to show ID to get into the very swanky Biden event in New York, where they were charging like $2,500 for a plate or whatever. You had to show ID to get into that.
It's ridiculous.
But that wasn't racist. The only reason they do not want photo ID is so they could cheat, because everybody knows you get a voter card, of course, when you register to vote. It doesn't have your picture on it. Anybody could take that and pretend to be you. And most they don't even want to look at your voter card. And it's just absolutely ridiculous not to have photo ID to vote. Everybody could get a photo ID, as we said before, and it would make our election so much more secure. You're proving who you are. I mean, I cannot understand that argument that we should not have photo ID to vote, probably because my head doesn't fit that far up my ass, Charlie. How about you?
Oh, yeah, that's most definitely. And I'm sick and tired. And I can't believe the black people don't see this when they say black people are unable to get IDs. That is the most racist son of a bitch I ever heard.
It is. It absolutely is.
But they don't have a car. They can't drive to the DMV and say, can I have an ID?
Yeah, it takes absolutely nothing to go get an ID. And everybody has one. Like, everybody over the age of 18 should have an ID, and most of them do. Most of them do, including black people. I know it's going to shock a lot of the liberals watching. If we have any liberals with that have the stones to watch this.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know
we had
that
one yesterday that called our show boring.
Yeah, I saw it. I told him.
See that little prick?
Yeah, and then he said bye. I said bye, Felicia.
Yeah, I saw that. But you know what gets me? But the illegals can vote. How do they get their ID?
They don't.
They got to give it to them.
Yeah, well, unless you
live along with their cell phone.
Yeah, you walk this incredibly dangerous journey, as the media tells us. But yeah, many of these people are like 200 pounds overweight and have an iPhone. They're fleeing for better opportunity, but they can afford the latest iPhone.
Yeah, no kidding. When we're giving it to them, when we're giving them the phone,
exactly.
And
Exactly.
right. You have to have ID to buy cigarettes, beer, alcohol, liquor, anything.
Everything. We have to have ID for so much stupid shit. It is ridiculous, but not to vote.
The Democrats are pushing that issue because they don't want people to have IDs because they know they'll find out they're illegals.
Yeah, they want to cheat. That is the only reason for not having photo ID to vote.
Exactly right.
That is probably the most ridiculous argument, and this is quite a statement. This is probably the most ridiculous argument that liberals have ever made, and that's really saying something because they make a lot of ridiculous arguments, Charlie.
Well, John Smith on Wimpkin just said one of these illegals that tried to break into the Quantico had a Virginia driver's license already, and they were from Jordania. So how the hell did he get a driver's license if it was real or not?
Yeah, well, that's what's happening here in Pennsylvania that I mentioned before. You know,
they're getting fake Social Security cards too.
Yeah, our lovely governor, 4'2", Joshi Shapiro, who needs to stand on milk crates to reach the top of the podium when he speaks. Is registering voters here in the communism of Pennsylvania once they get driver's license. Now, illegals, many of these people supposedly don't speak English. If you can't speak English,
you shouldn't be here.
You shouldn't be driving because how the hell do you know what the signs are? You're studying for the test. You can't read that. If they have a translator, how do you know that the individual that is being tested?
Don't say that because they're going to start putting up Spanish signs all over the place.
Yeah, I know. It's, I know we technically do not have an official language here in the United States, but the majority of people here speak English, and all of our shit is written in English. I mean, so they shouldn't be getting driver's license to begin with, and they certainly shouldn't be allowed to vote. If you're not a citizen, you don't get a vote. That's simple. You want to get a vote, go through the legal process and become a citizen.
Well, Billy Bob on Wimpkin just said you need to show ID to buy spray paint.
You need it to buy freaking NyQuil now.
That's what I just told him. I said, you got to do it to buy cough medicine. You can't even buy cough medicine.
Yeah, but
I said, like, what the hell? But you can't. You don't have to. It don't matter. You can vote. It don't matter who you are or where you're from. You can vote.
That is so stupid.
It is. Hey, guys. Now, that's about all the time we have for you guys tonight. We're running a little bit over our little hour there, but I ask you guys again, please check out our Rumble pages. Mine's Country Conservative. Brendan's is the Brendan Sattler Show. Don't forget to follow us. That's the most important thing that you guys can do for us. Follow us on our Rumble pages. That helps us get our reach out to people. I'm liking Wimpkin, though. We've got some great people come in here and watch us on Wimpkin. I'm loving these guys. And don't forget to follow us on Rumble, too. And on Wimpkin.
Absolutely.
Please follow us, guys. And but subscribe, and wherever you're tuning in from, please help us out a little bit. Let's get our reach out because November 5th is coming right around the corner, and we can't let up right now. We got to keep full force. That's why we're doing these videos and these live streams, to keep people remembering the truth and seeing what's going out there. But thank you, dear listeners, for joining us tonight on the great episode of the Conservative Viewpoint. As the sun sets on today's episode, remember this: our conservative values are the bedrock of our nation. Tomorrow, I guess I'll be back, ready to dissect the latest headlines, because Brendan will not be here tomorrow or Friday, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but he will be back on Thursday, though.
Week, guys. Weird week.
So, man, we'll be dissecting the latest headlines, challenging the prevailing narratives, and champion liberty. So mark your calendars, set your alarms, and join us for another riveting episode of the Conservative Viewpoint. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, stay true to your convictions. So until tomorrow night, guys, everyone have a good night.
Good night, guys. See you next time.